Hello and welcome to the morning after show presented by Underdog Fantasy Sports. My name is Joshua Reimer. I am joined by none other than Jared Block, who is over on my right. And Jared, it's been a while, man. We haven't been on the morning after show in quite a little bit. You know, I had to deal with moving, had to deal with some other stuff. I've had probably a gazillion problems coming into the new place so far, but we are here and we are here to talk about all the sports that we missed because there was quite a lot.
Yeah, we've had a really nice stretch in DFS over the last week and a half or so, and it continued last night. But I can firmly say that I'm not enjoying playoff basketball right now.
Man, I saw that tweet and I was like, this guy, like I understand. We'll get to it. I understand it, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it soon. Because I want to get a little bit more in depth. I don't want to just talk about it briefly at the beginning here. What I will talk about here at the beginning is, like you said, the amazing stretch that we're on. Another win last night. I did the math yesterday. We're 9-2 with my content. We're 9-2 over the last ever since last Sunday, and we are 8-3 over on DraftKings, which is insane, man. Like I don't, no one else is putting up numbers like that around the industry. If you're playing the lineup, you're cashing. It's as simple as that, and we're doing really well right now. So these hot stretches are welcome, very much needed, and you can kind of just say that it's mostly because baseball feels normal again, right? Like you're actually
Yep.
seeing teams put up runs like they should, and things are starting to get into a little bit of a groove now. So I'm a happy camper. Great way to start off the week with two big wins yesterday, and a win on Tuesday as well. But we always say this, you can take your victory lap a little bit, but then it's on to the next day, and it's on to the next day. We have a loaded slate for MLB later tonight. I think it's like 11 games, which is weird for a Thursday because you don't usually see those big slates on a Thursday. But still, I'm excited for it and excited to keep kicking ass and taking names.
Yep. The grind officially starts. It's almost summertime, and soon we're gonna only have just MLB to talk about, obviously with some NFL in there too. But let's talk about these playoffs now because we have both NHL and NBA to cover.
Yes, let's talk about the playoffs first. We start off with the NHL. First off, Rangers tie up the series against the Hurricanes after a 4-1 victory at home, game 5 tonight. I was talking to my hockey buddies about this game actually, and just them saying, I was like, look, how's it going? Like, I'm not paying attention to hockey that much right now. How is the Canes series going? And they were like, we can just not win a game away from home. They were very upset about not being able to win a game away from home, and I guess that's kind of been the story of their playoffs so far. Uh, I don't know. Very interesting to see the Rangers tie up the series. Do you think this will be similar to what we saw against the Bruins, where it was going to Game 7 just because the home team was always winning?
I think that series is the only one likely enough to make it that far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seems like, at least in my eyes, is that only one that has a chance of making it that far is this game or this series. Other series that we have to talk about: Oilers take a 3-1 lead after solid third period against the Flames. Game 5 also tonight. Oilers have a chance to win it all here, move on to the next round, and then Blues steal one in OT over the Avalanche. Avalanche are now up 3-2 in the series. Does it surprise you at all? They were so dominant, the Avalanche were, in the previous series, and now we're seeing them, struggle to some extent at least. Does this surprise you whatsoever?
Uh, Not really. I do think the only thing that surprises me is that they kind of like today was or last night was supposed to be their victory lap kind of into the finals, which we'll talk about the Golden State stuff too. I feel like they did the same thing as the Avalanche did and kind of let one slip away. Uh, I don't think. I mean, maybe the Golden State version of that is tonight. We'll see if they're able to come through, but it does seem like the Blues were able to escape with a win on the road in OT, and that's obviously I'm sure they're upset with that.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, two game fives tonight. Rangers and Hurricanes. Hurricanes at home for this one. And then you have Oilers and the Flames with the Flames at home for that one. So some more good playoff hockey. Let's talk about the NBA recap or the NBA playoffs altogether and talk about before we talk about the Celtics, let's talk about the Mavericks game that's going to play out tonight. Uh, Seems like Warriors have firm control of this one. Mavericks end up winning game four, but I think the rest of the industry is coming to a consensus that, the Warriors had a hold of this. They kind of let that game go just so, because they're going to have to go home anyway. So they probably wanted to get home, clinch the series in front of their home crowd instead of doing it on the road in Dallas. Or at least, is that the way that you're thinking? Because that's the way that I thought about losing game four for this Warriors team.
Yeah, well, I think the way that a GM sees it's going to be a little different from how the team sees it. The team's going to go out, still try to play and do things, but if you are the ownership group, you are thrilled that you're getting a home game, another home game
Oh, yeah.
before getting that extra revenue in there. Yeah, like they're
Yup.
pumped about it. They're going to
Money,
sell
money,
out
money.
tonight. They're probably going to slam the door shut on the Mavs, and they're going to do it in strict fashion. I think that like the Mavs money line and spread of like 1 or 2 points the other day was easy money,
Yep.
and it should be the exact opposite today. Let me check to see what the actual odds are here. I'm sure Warriors should be
Warriors.
beaten by like 6.
Warriors -7. Almost right there,
Okay.
man. You're good at predicting these odds. I'm terrible at it. I never get those types of things right. But yeah,
Well,
minus.
I'm good at doing the line, but I'm not good at actually like it never turns out that way in these playoffs.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that here soon. That's an interesting conversation. But yeah, this has been. I just think at some point this Mavericks team was going to be overrun by another team with enough star power, and obviously this Warriors team probably has the most star power out of any team left in the playoffs right now. So,
Mhm.
you can only do so much. Luka can only do so much, and you're seeing that in this series, which is it's unfortunate because Luka has a second guy on his team. I know I don't even want to say it because it hurts my heart, but I know LeBron's talking about how he really likes the Mavericks and really likes Luka. Like imagine having LeBron alongside Luka. Like I think it's a completely different scenario, or just any number two next to Luca is makes this a different scenario.
Yeah, I think they need a big four, a big three. Not saying like big three, but like they need a big number four on
Yeah,
that team, and that would be him. They like to play small, so I could see that happening too.
yeah. Small ball center LeBron. That's with Luka Doncic. That sounds scary.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it should be an interesting series. It should be a lot of fun. By the way, Crispy Bacon, thank you for the kind words, sir. He said Josh is the goat and so is Jared. Miss y'all. We miss you too. And then he said LeBron is meh, and that hurts my heart a little bit. But we'll move on anyway. Let's talk about the game that happened last night because we had the Celtics and going up against the Miami Heat. We kind of went back and forth on what this final score could be. We knew it would be low scoring, but we said it'd stay a little bit closer. And it did at some points. And then you got to the third quarter and you just saw the Celtics pull away, man. I mean, there was just,
Yeah.
maybe it's all the injuries that this Miami team is going to have to go to. And I think it's you that said this, that it was ringing true in my head when I was watching the game. You were saying that it really comes down to in this series, whoever can stay healthier at this point is going to be the team that wins it, and clearly it's somewhat the Celtics right now. The fact that Smart and Williams were able to get on the floor yesterday, and you just continue to see guys for this Heat team end up being injured. I think that kind of speaks volumes. And also Jimmy Butler just not showing up in this game was disappointing in my eyes.
Yeah, he hasn't shown up in 2 straight now. I know that their entire team's dealing with injuries, but is that really an excuse at this point? Because I don't think it is. And the Celtics, while they are not dealing with as many injuries, still are dealing with just probably one less, maybe two less injuries than the Heat are. Also, we didn't cover it since we weren't on the air, but in Game 4, Victor Oladipo outscored the starters by himself, and it
Yeah.
just proves like I don't know. I'm giving credit to the Celtics defense, but if you're starting group for Miami, you need to figure out how to actually make things happen here. And it did it once again. Like their starters came out flat in the third quarter, and they had no help on the bench. Victor Oladipo can only do so much by himself. So when you lose Tyler Hero and you're trying to rely on guys like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent to run your offense, it's just not going to work. So the Heat are running a smaller rotation than what they're used to, and maybe that's finally to their detriment because they were running 10, 12 deep in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah. It I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, you look at this number and this specific number, and it tells you the whole story of the game. The Miami Heat shot 7 for 45 from 3 point range. It's a
Yeah,
15% 3 point percentage. The starters alone shot a combined, got to do some quick math here, 15 plus 7, 22, 2 for 22 from 3 point range, Jared. So
like
just nothing falling from 3 point range. That's gonna do it for you, man. That's gonna bite you if you shoot like that and play like that. And we clearly see it bite this Miami Heat team. Now they go back to Boston for Game 6, and things should be interesting, man. I don't know. I think the Celtics team might have things handled, and my buddy said Celtics win in 6. So if
yeah.
they actually win in 6, I'll be pleasantly shocked.
It does seem like they have it not in the bag. I think Miami could come out with a nice first half. If they do that, then they have a chance. It does seem like the road team's been playing better, which is really confusing. But it does
Yeah.
kind of come down to whether or not your guys are going to go for this Celtics team. Something that and it didn't show in the box score last night, but it showed while watching the game. And he didn't have to play in the second half much, but Jason Tatum's shoulders hurt. Like it
Yes.
really, it's not, it's hurt. He can't be the same player. He did score 22 points last night, almost had a triple double, but that just for me, that's a clear sign of Golden State's winning the title. Like
Yeah.
that, I just think it's over before it even starts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I mean, like this Celtics team is so injured, man. I was telling you, if Robert Williams doesn't come out for that second half, then I could see this Heat team pulling off a little bit more of a win. But they're still injured even with Williams and Smart playing all the time that they did yesterday. They're not even getting full run. I mean, Williams played 27 minutes, Smart played 24. I don't know. I think if this Celtics team comes in this banged up into the next series, into the finals, then it's going to be a big problem for this Celtics team. And like you said, Warriors are seem like the top team. Seem like they're going to be the favorite. I'd be curious to I'd be curious to see what those odds are going to be like once we get to the NBA finals between a potential series between the Celtics and the Warriors.
Yeah, I think they're going to be favorites either way. The Warriors are actually the only team that's still healthy. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
I think Luca
hey, Otto
Luca is
Porter is injured.
yeah,
Let's
you're
not
right. You're
forget.
right. That is the big deal.
Yeah.
That is a big deal. Yeah, for what it's worth, I picked Moses Moody the other night because I thought he'd get extra run, which he did only because the game was like out of
Yeah.
control. We didn't talk about that either, but that was a really, really weird fourth quarter.
Yes, it
The
was.
bench players looked amazing. Maybe it's because a little bit of Dallas just not like playing up to snuff really, but they had to send they sent like imagine what Jason Kidd's thinking when you're sending Steph and Clay and Dre back in the game and Wiggins, and you're like, oh god, can they really like? It only lasted for like 30 seconds, but that could have been the epic collapse of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Um, does Robert Williams remind you of Mike Williams? Because that's exactly who I think it reminds me of.
Yeah, I think so. I can see that 100%. Um, yeah, I can see the Mike Williams comparison for sure. Smart defensive player of the year, but Robert Williams the most important defensive player on the team, asked Bacon 23. I agree with that. Robert Williams does such a good job of taking away Bam. I mean, you saw the one
Yep.
game that Robert Williams doesn't play this series, Bam goes off as one of the best games of the playoffs, and you see Robert Williams comes back in and shuts him down, man. That Williams defense is uber important for the interior. I'm curious how it's going to translate over to the Warrior series if they do end up advancing, because you don't have that big man on the Warriors that is going to do well. So is Williams defense going to be that important still? We will just have to see. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, I'll share that, and then I'll share why I think that the odds are correct for the championship. So I think that if you're the Warriors, you're looking at this matchup. You only get to see Boston like twice a year. I think that they play small ball and take it away. Like
Yeah,
that, you're gonna see probably Looney play less minutes to take out Robert Williams. I
the
think
death
it either
lineup,
goes
man.
that way. Yeah, it goes that way, or it goes in the other direction, and they would have to go as big as possible. You can't do that without Otto Porter, so they'll probably end up going small ball. So um, Golden State Warriors minus 140 to win the title. Boston Celtics plus 120. Miami Heat plus 2200. Mavericks plus 4000.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that the Celtics are keeping it so close there at minus 120. I kind of would have expected something closer to plus 150, but we'll have to see. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting series, that is for sure. All right, that's it for NBA playoffs. Let's talk about one last thing, something that you brought up a little bit earlier on in the show. How do we even bet on NBA postseason games at this point? This has been such a funky playoffs so far. I feel like the public has gotten burned so many times by just trappy lines, and I think outside of that Mavericks one that you talked about, which I bet on too, I thought it was a pretty easy decision to make there with that Maverick spread. But I don't know. It's been definitely a difficult thing to. It's been a difficult thing to bet on this playoffs.
Yeah, it started before the Bucks Suns game sevens, but I think that it closed the door on a lot of really small handicappers. Like you probably game seven Bucks and Suns to win, and your parlay got crushed. So
Yeah.
the books are making it back big time right now, and I think that like even the Warriors really weren't like anywhere close to becoming the favorites. I think to the chat's point, Crispy Bacon said they're like plus 2,000 or were at the somewhere in the fall or even somewhere even in spring. This Warriors team just continued to be counted out, and we even saw them drop several games in March to where they got the third seed instead of Memphis. So they're coming at the right time. So are the Celtics, and I think that neither of those teams were anywhere close to a top five in the odds. So the one thing I will say though gets a little bit clearer tonight. I am hammering Warriors no matter the number.
Okay. I like it. I think I can get behind it. Last question here, and then we'll move on from the NBA. Actually, we'll talk about all NBA teams, and then we'll move on from NBA. But Crispy Bacon asks, who joins the Warriors for next season to make them deadlier? I don't know. Probably I say respectable center. Looney is respectable, but I think that's the last thing you need on that team. You probably see like I see a lot of stuff floating out there about trading away Clay or trading away Poole because you don't need all three of Poole, Clay, and Steph, and trading him away for a sign and trade of like a guy like DeAndre Ayton, which I don't
Yeah.
know if the Suns would do that. If they did,
No.
it sure would be dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, the Suns don't need a guard necessarily, but the Aiden stuff's interesting. I think Aiden does move, and he probably goes to the Eastern Conference, but for the Warriors, you can make the case they don't need anybody. You
No.
have Wiseman sitting on the bench. I think you have respectable guys like JTA hasn't played in 2 rounds. Kaminga is up and coming. Moses Moody's there. Maybe they don't need it.
Talk about a dynasty, man. I mean, if man, just an insane team. And if Wiseman comes back healthy and like he was in year one, I mean, this team is I don't know. This team is set up for the future for a really, really long time. All right, let's talk about all NBA teams. Do you have them in front of you? Because I don't.
Yes, I do. We have NBA first teams. Have the article in front of me. Okay. First team: Joker, Giannis, Luca. Why doesn't this give me a better thing? That's weird. Sorry, guys. I think stupid articles only giving me like 3 names. NBA all first teams. I know that. So the first thing I'll do while I'm pulling this up is let you know that people are ecstatically mad about Joel Embiid getting second team, but it makes
Oh my
sense
god.
because
What?
Joker won the MVP, and that's obviously only you can only have one center. So
Yeah.
um,
Jeez, people.
Um, yeah. So the controversial thing I'll get to last. Joker, Tatum, Giannis, Luca, and Devin Booker. Devin Booker is the contrarian guy that people are saying uh, is the thing that doesn't belong, but he also was like number 4 in the MVP vote. So I can actually agree with this. But the second NBA team is Curry, Ja, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and the third team, Chris Paul, Trey Young, LeBron, Pascal Siakam, and Kat.
Is it at all shocking to you to see LeBron on the third team? Because I felt like it was a little
Yeah.
shocking when I saw it, and I
Yep.
don't know. I know he wasn't out; he wasn't there for the full time, so I guess that has to go partially into it. But there was a point where LeBron was making MVP talks, and to see him on third team feels like kind of a disgrace.
I think there are some debatable things. Booker and Ja is interesting. I do think Booker is probably the guy though. And then I also think that Tatum and DeRozan are potentially interchangeable.
Yeah,
DeRozan did slow down tremendously
yeah,
and
he
did
did.
not look great in the playoffs out of a few games. I know this isn't a playoff thing, but if it's not a playoff thing, then LeBron probably should be switch with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I can get behind that. So I don't know, some very interesting things. Um, Man, and Pascal Siakam, like I know he was good, but like I don't know who else would replace him on this list. Um, could you make a case that Jalen Brown should be there instead of him?
No.
No, I don't know. I just don't think Siakam really deserves it. But off the top of my head, I can't think of another guy who deserves it more. Um, Yeah, interesting list. I don't know. Curry is in the second team makes sense. I think a lot of things do make sense. I don't know. I also kind of question the Devin Booker thing in the first team. I don't know if he deserves that. I mean, like I know he was fourth in MVP voting, but like I would rather have Ja there instead of Devin Booker.
Yeah, I mean they all miss time, so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it is
just
what
know
it
that
is.
this does affect like it affects contract negotiations, it affects player salary.
Yeah.
Big deal, just because of guys that like people are making decisions for these guys that they might not agree with.
Yeah, and yeah, I completely agree with that. It's very interesting to see these decisions affect so many things in these players' lives. It's not just an award when it comes to all NBA teams. Like you said, depending on what contracts you get is based off of if you made the all NBA team as a rookie on your rookie contract or so on and so forth. Anyway, let's move on, Jared. We have plenty more to talk about. Let's get to the NFL news. We found out that the Browns assigned Jadeveon Clowney to a 1 year, $11 million deal. A good chunk of that guaranteed, too, 9.25. And then let's go over some headlines because, man, have we had some headlines over the past week while we've been gone. I'll go over all of them. There are, what, 4 of them here, and I want you to tell me which one sounds the most ridiculous. Which one are you buying and which
This
one are
one,
you selling? All
yeah.
right, so first one.
Our list from the other day actually can grow a couple more, so I'll include some more after this.
Okay, sweet. All right, first one. Darnold can be one of the best QBs in the NFL. Yes, this was said. Jets QB Wilson bulks up, feels better, bigger. Hill adamant that Tua is a very accurate quarterback, and Tannehill vows he'll be a great teammate to Willis. What are the other ones? Let me hear some more because these all gave me a little bit of a chuckle.
Yep, Colin Kaepernick is going to work out for the Raiders this week.
Yes.
And we just got the news that Jameis Winston's back for the Saints in tip-top condition.
Oh, tip top condition. Man, I so I had to go look at what they were talking about when when it was Tyreek Hill was adamant that Tua is a very accurate quarterback because I had to see exactly what he said, and that conversation was very interesting. Man,
Mm.
I don't know. Hill's an interesting guy alone, but he was very adamant in saying that Tua was a good quarterback and was saying that he was very accurate with the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if that sort of thing translates. Man, Darnold can be one of the best QBs in the NFL. That one was shocking, man.
Yeah, remember when he had like 8 touchdowns and 4 of them were rushing in week 3, and then they
Yes,
sucked the rest of the entire season?
I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Uh, so the comment that I have about Tua, and we'll have to just wait. We have so much to talk about for the rest of the show. We have so much off-season stuff to talk about for this Miami team. But he was top 5 in efficiency. If that means that he's going to be able to, I don't know. I just see them. Tua is basically the more agile version of Jimmy G, and that's exactly how they're going to run their offense.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. He is the more, yeah, he does qualify as that, and I think that they are going to run their offense like that. It should be very interesting. I saw some stuff about the Wilson bulk up too. I don't know. I'm already bullish on Jets with Hall, and I think that O line has vastly improved, and I think
Yep.
there's a lot of positive things for Zach Wilson and this Jets team. Um, you
I can
think
give
this
you the
offense
number.
is the? Yeah, go ahead.
He finished last year at 208 pounds. He was under 200 for some of training camp in his rookie year,
Ooh.
and then he reported to OTAs this week at 221 with a with the weight he's trying to get to at 230 before opening day.
Holy crap. Juiced, man.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Wonder if that deserves a visit from the league. That's a lot of pounds to put on in pure muscle. That is definitely interesting. Yeah, I saw how they're like training speed and stuff, and they Jets are doing some very interesting things. I'm excited to see what this offense brings because I think overall it is a pretty solid offense. And if Zach Wilson can be a halfway decent quarterback, that team's going to be pretty good. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about with these headlines?
yeah. Well, back to the Wilson thing really quickly. They have the stuff. So we'll see if they can put it together. This is the best that the Jets have looked from a paper perspective in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And they said that they want to keep Wilson within 220 and 230 playing weight. It's just going to depend on some things. But Coach Sala said that he used one word to describe his quarterback, and he said thick.
Not a word that you'd think
So there you go.
a grown man would describe another grown man, but hey, here we are. All right. On that note, let's move on. Talk about the MLB recap here very quickly. We can start off with talking about Jock, who channeled his inner Barry Bonds. We found out that he got to talk to Barry Bonds before the game on Tuesday. Yeah, on
Yep.
Tuesday, and absolutely smashes right afterwards. 4 home runs in 24 hours, man. 3 home runs the night of that time that he talked to Barry Bonds, and then a home run the day after. I saw some tweets on Twitter saying that this means Barry Bonds should end up getting an MLB job somewhere. And I was like, yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, some team has to be seeing that and being like, oh, imagine if he talked to all of our players.
Yeah, not only did they play really well despite some adversity in the Mets game on Tuesday, but they just crushed them on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Like there was such a tight turnaround between that extra innings game and then the other one, and they scored like 25 runs in 2 days. By the way, the Jock thing, apparently he lost track of time and was talking to Barry Bonds 15 minutes before the game started.
That's
So he
insane.
didn't get any warm-ups in, and he was locked in. Like the first swing of the game that he had was a home run. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something there. I don't know. I still think Bonds kind of juiced everybody before the games.
Yeah. Bacon. That's funny. He says Barry's secret stuff in quotes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Barry's secret stuff indeed. All right. We had 42 home runs on Tuesday. We had a good chunk of home runs last night. We can officially declare the dead ball era over after 5 weeks of it. Good job, everyone, because in our all of our complaining all together made the MLB change things, or at least that's the way that I'm going to look at it. Because man, everyone was so mad about the dead ball, and everyone was talking so much shit about it. Either it was just a weather thing, or the MLB was like, "All right, we've got to change back," and it seems like we are in normal MLB times now.
Agreed. We won't really talk about the Boston Red Sox that much, so I want to bring this in here really quickly. Two things. One, Alex Cora shaved his face, and since he shaved his face, they've gone 10-4 and they've scored like over 150 runs. By the way, so that's I don't know, superstition, who knows? But they were 10-19, and then he shaved his face, and now they are basically the hottest team in the league. Also, Trevor Story did not know this, but this came out before the season, so we wouldn't have known. He is a newborn or a new father, and
Yes.
they have a just welcomed their first child 7 weeks ago at the start of the year, and they had to move and get adjusted to a new city and a new team. And so I think that now he's locked in. So maybe like the first month of the year he just wasn't sleeping.
I actually know that's not true because I saw an interview and he said how he never takes care of the kid and he always gets a good night's sleep thanks to his wife. So
Oh,
I don't know how
Jesus.
true it is. I mean, hey,
What a
that's just
guy. What a
yeah,
guy.
what a guy, right? Yeah, that's just what he said on national television.
Oh my goodness.
I did see that, but I think it does have something to do with just playing in a new spot, and playing in a new area. I think is a big reason. You got to get used to that, and he's getting used to it. I saw this Alex Cora thing, by the way. Pete Abram, a beat reporter for the Red Sox that I follow and have tweet notifications on for, tweeted out something about it. Tweeted this out a day ago, so I can say it here. He said MLB standings since Alex Cora shaved his beard. Red Sox 9-3. Remember, this is 2 days ago, so obviously you gave the updated record, but that's where they were at this point. Padres 9-4 since Alex Cora shaved his beard. Yankees 10-5. Astros 9-5, and Mets 9-5 as well. So some powerhouses doing well with the Cora shaved beard. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. That's weird.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird indeed. Indeed. Bacon asks, can I explain my Nerfy and Yerfy? What the Nerfy and Yerfy? It stands for no runs first inning and yes runs first inning. I was doing just runs first inning instead of yes runs first inning, but I looked around and found out that that is wrong. I have to do yes runs first inning. That's what it stands for, though. And that's what you root for. Just no runs in the first inning or yes runs in the first inning. That went well again yesterday. 5-2 on the since I started it earlier this week. I'm a happy camper with that going so well. Anyway, let's go back into talking about everything baseball related, and we can talk about the Yankees a little bit, who are dealing with the injury bug, like it seems like they do every time around this, or at every point
Yep.
around this time in the season. Always have to deal with something. They lose Chapman, DJ LeMahieu, and Stanton all to IL stints. Doesn't matter. They still look pretty good. I mean, I guess there was the Orioles last night, so you can't take it into too much account. But looked pretty good last night, 1-2-0. But we're seeing this Yankees team slow down a little bit. They were on this meteoric run. It looked absolutely amazing what this team was doing, and now you're seeing them come back down to earth. Do you think it's going to be something where it's going to even out a little bit, or do you think this is just a cold stretch and they could heat up again?
Oh, they'll be fine. I think that they deal with this, like you said, every year, and you want to have these injuries come out early, and it might, slow you down for a little bit, but you want to try to be locked in around August and early September and get all your injuries out of the way over the summer. So
Yep.
I think they're fine. They also do have a few guys on the team that are injury prone. I think Stanton is one of those guys, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And DJ used to be kind of an Iron Man, but he's going through some stuff too. So I think they'll get it turned around. I mean, their other injuries aren't really injuries; they're COVID related and or a suspension. So other than that, I think they're all right.
Yep, I would agree. All right. Braves come alive for Roto Radar MLB. It's about damn time. This Braves team finally comes through for one of us and comes through for me. Swanson and Contreras both hit home runs, but Ozzy Albi does his thing too. Gets an RBI, two RBI single, and the whole team looked good. So thank you, Braves, for actually coming through for me for once. I greatly appreciate it. And then you had Christian Javier, man, who was an absolute stud. Ended up striking out the first first 6 batters that he faced off against. I
Yep.
got pulled right before the quality start, which I know you were pretty livid about, but I think that, it was an amazing start for Christian Javier and proves just how much of a strikeout machine this guy actually is.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous for some of these guys because the top five in Cleveland have a good they have good K rates, and I was a little bit nervous about it, but he just looked completely dominant, and I'm still a little bit salty. Even though I won last night, I'm still salty about what could have been. He had a 70 FanDuel point performance coming, and I'm
Oh,
surprised that they took him out when it was needed. But I knew it was I knew coming in that it was going to be sweaty. Young kid looked great, looked almost too good to be true through 2 times through. So when it came around to the third time, I get it, pulling him in a tight game. But this dude has 70 FanDuel point upside, so we'll have to see if he gets there this year.
yep. Last but not least, actually not last but not least, I have one more thing to add on to this list. But Rangers bats come to life last night. It's about time that this Rangers team actually looks somewhat
Yep.
decent. Get a big win against the Angels. Win 7-1 or 7-2. Sorry, they looked really good last night overall. I guess it's not that hard to look good against Reed Detmers, but I think one big thing that I saw was Marcus Semien finally looking like a actual MLB hitter. He had that triple, he had the single that turned into him getting on second with the steal. Some big stuff
Yep.
for Simeon that definitely was much needed because he has not been good this year.
Yep. And Garver hit his third home run in 3 days. Dude's coming alive. So I'm happy that I was able to stick with the Rangers, those two specifically, and that's kind of what led me. Because otherwise, the Houston Astros stack did not come through outside of Jose Siri. Believe it or not, he had the most FanDuel points on the team.
Imagine.
And then that Texas Rangers duo definitely sailed me to victory.
Whew. Very nice. Yeah, very, very good. Last but not least, that I wanted to talk about Yorlin Calderon. Have you heard about this guy from the Yankees? From the Yankees minor league.
I know who it is. Yeah.
He ended up throwing. He had his first start in single A yesterday, and threw a complete game 7 inning, no hitter in his first start last night.
Oh,
Uh, 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, only had 2 walks. Ended up winning game 2 of a doubleheader. I mean, I guess it's only 7 innings. They're still doing the 7 inning doubleheaders, so there is that. But talk about a first start. That is very impressive for Yorlin Calderon.
yeah. That's interesting for sure. We also didn't really get to talk about the another Yankees prospect that was cut from the organization. Remember that one?
Oh my gosh,
We didn't get
yes,
to talk
dude.
about
We
that.
never did. You're right. Yeah, that was fucking interesting, man. I forget his name now. I don't even
Yeah.
know who it was, but
It's Jake Sanford.
yeah, Jake Sanford ends up getting cut. He was the third round pick for us this year, and was cut because he was stealing stuff from teammates and selling it, and just being a I don't know, man. It was a mess. It was a mess for sure.
I've never seen that before. He was
Yeah,
stealing things, stealing equipment and gear, and selling it, and then not giving it to the fans. Like he was taking the orders on eBay and then just wasn't giving it to them. So,
yeah.
what a weird time. I don't know.
Weird time indeed. Very, very interesting stuff there. I have no clue what to think about it. Um, yeah, should be. MLB has been very interesting. Been a lot of headlines, and it's been fun to keep up with. Simeon still hasn't got his first home run of the season. That must hurt, man. This is a guy who had 40 home runs last year. Can you like?
Yep.
What is going on there? Anyway, all right, Jared. Let's get to Dog Days of Spring. Let's talk about our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy Sports, who keeps the lights on for us over here at on the morning after show. Here in Dog Days of Spring, which should be Dog Days of Summer here very, very soon. We make a little underdog bet for you guys that you guys can use, and it's always fun to do. And we've been smashing recently when we release these. Been doing very, very well. So here we go again, Jared. I think you're probably going to take NBA, but I'm gonna take a look to see if I can get an MLB one.
Yep, I am going to take NBA. Also, just a heads up, we are going to be doing this not on this show, but in our Discord. Big E is obviously the soccer guru, and they have a boost for the UCL this weekend for Kareem Benzema. So we'll see what side of things that they pick for UCL this weekend. I am going to stick with this. I'm going to try to stick with the Warriors if I can. Let's see. This dude did end up like I don't know if you watched this, but two of the heaviest bets in the playoffs came from this Dallas game 4 the other day, and one side of it was Wiggins and the other side was Luca, and both failed their props tremendously. Actually, Luca missed by like 4 points, but they were some of the biggest bets on Prize Picks and Underdog to this day. So uh, that was interesting. So I'm going to go back to the well on Andrew Wiggins, and I am going to go with over 18 and a half points and assists.
Nice. I like it. All right. I am going to take. Let me look up one more thing. Um, Hold on 1 second here. I am going to end up taking. Man, I thought I had this nailed down, and now I gotta look at it one more thing. Give me a second. Yeah, there we go. Jose Ramirez over 8.5 total fantasy points against Tariq Screwball is where I am leaning. So there you go. You got your 2 picks for the day. I like it. Seems pretty solid. And like I said, we've been smashing these. We had one yesterday that did really well. And at least when I was before my move, when I was before my little my long weekend, we were absolutely smashing these. So it's been a good time over at Underdog.
Yep, love it. What I don't love is the fact that Arizona gets to face off against the Dodgers today.
Yeah.
Uh, Wish I could love it, but now I think everybody else is going to love it too.
I think everyone is going to love that spot without a doubt. Should be interesting. Can't wait to get to the MLB side of things. Can't wait to start breaking down MLB DFS with y'all. And that will be on the member only podcast, which will be going live 2 hours before lock, which is again funky today, Jerry. Why
Hmm.
does FanDuel keep messing up slate times, man? We don't need these extra games at 6:40.
Yep.
You're
Well, they
you're
just wanted to include your team, but
I don't even want my team on it
I
anymore.
don't even want. I don't like that game is not necessary to the slate. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, I say I say I don't want that team. I will say that a lot of people will probably take a guy like Aaron Judge, and I will probably stay away from him. Happily stay away from him. I don't know. We'll see. It's way too early to talk about MLB DFS research. There's still plenty of research to do, but that's not going to be a game that I'm all that interested in. Jared, let's get out of here. Any final thoughts?
Nope, not too much. Let's stay hot. And yeah, our combined record's like 11-2 in the last week and a half. So it's been a nice little run here. Oh, you didn't even talk about DraftKings last night, which just destroyed the
Oh my
two.
goodness.
So
Well,
make sure you guys are
DraftKings.
playing on both sides. What's
Yeah,
up?
definitely play both sides. Not only did DraftKings destroy last night, we destroyed the early only slate too on DraftKings. DraftKings was smashing yesterday. It was a great day to be over on DraftKings. So, like you said, make sure to play both sides. It is 100% necessary if you are playing the MLB product. Jared, let's get out of here. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good morning and good skill.